Building a barn door. So in this video I'll be showing how I made this barn door from start to finish. I use simple 1x6 pine wood that I got from Home Depot and cut it with my miter saw. And here I am just making a 45-degree angle cut for the outer frame pieces so they can fit. And the next step is just sanding. And I had to use pre-stain for all of these pieces because with pine it just tends to be really blotchy if you just apply stain first. And the next step is just, of course, using stain, and I found this really good stain that I personally like called Ipswich stain, and it brings out this nice natural brown color that I really like without looking too artificial. And then at this point I accidentally tipped over the freaking stain. Dang it. And I really hate wasting anything, and here I am just salvaging the stain as much as I could. Pretty much just rubbing the pieces into that puddle of stain, and after I just left it out to dry. And then the next step was arranging the pieces just the way that I liked, even down to just flipping the sides that I wanted, and I definitely wanted the prettier side to be on the outside. And then it was just a matter of lining up the outer frame to make sure all the pieces were lined up, and then drilling pilot holes all along the sides, and then just following up with screws all along the sides to secure it. And recently I've been really into high contrast with the wood, and what I did here was just use black paint on the outer edges of the door frame to make the wood just really pop out, and I really like that color contrast. Then it was on to drilling in side panels and adding in these diagonal bracings to prevent the door from being too floppy. Then it was on to putting conditioner on these pieces and staining them. And then of course just drilling them into the frame, just using the pocket holes, and then drilling them straight down into the frame and doing the same for the side panels. And after, it was time to put on finish, and I like the satin finish to give it more of a natural look versus just a glossy look, and here I am just sanding down the finish to make it more smooth. And next is installing some of the hardware into the door and just adding in these thicker bolts to hold the hardware where the wheels sit on. And next I was trying to measure out the door handle and trying to be precise with where it sits and drilling the holes and installing it through that side. And sadly I realized that the door handle was on the wrong side and I needed this type of handle on this side. This side of the door was going to face the wall and it needed to be flat versus the type of handle that protruded out. So here I am just chiseling out a hole for the handle to sit through and just drilling it through the door here. And here's the final product with the bigger handle on the outside and the flatter handle on the inside. And this is definitely the hardest part of the project, where I was installing the railing and I wanted to be as precise as possible, making sure everything was level. And I basically drilled in these boards so that the railing could sit on there first, and installed the railing on top of these pieces, and then later removed the wooden pieces on the bottom. And it took a really long time, but it worked, and I was willing to test it out.
Watch this. In amazement. Whoa.
And here's the door sitting on the railing with these cylinder looking pieces that I had to twist under the railing to prevent the door from coming off of the railing.
Cool. Cool. Isn't this pretty crazy?
Too cool. And here's the view from the inside of the bathroom when I use the flat handle, and here's the view from the outside of the bathroom when I use the bigger handle. And I use this small little bumper to prevent the door from hitting the wall. And that's the finished product. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. See you later.